probably, yeah. I mean, it was honestly though, for the most part, I mean, mine is going back as a kid. I thought it was fine. Rewatching as an adult, from adult perspective now, I'm like, what the fuck?
Why does
These are horribly written characters.
I'm scrolling down the Wikipedia page and all I see is there's a tab called lawsuit, and I'm just like, why?
Lawsuit? What?
Apparently Walt Disney sued unsuccessfully because they claimed that the show is a ripoff of Witch.
Well, I was actually going to bring that up after, but I'm not done with Winx yet. Also, one of my favorite parts of the show is that, so I'm assuming that the show was supposed to end after season 3, because one of the things, so season 3, they all got these really fancy transformations, and they said, it's the final transformation. This is the final form of all fairies. And then it went on to get 6 more seasons with a different transformation every time, much like Sailor Moon. And I just find it very hilarious.
Hey guys, I'm Bill, a one-time Instagram blogger and now a podcaster.
And I'm Alex, the chaotic neutral.
And together we are the Gaming and Collecting Podcast,
a brother-sister duo
that talks about gaming.
And also anime.
And don't forget the collecting, sometimes.
Ah, forget it. We're just a nostalgia podcast at this point.
But anyways, guys, thanks for joining us as we discuss the games that shaped us. So.
Oh my god!
How you been?
Gear 5! It's out! I watched it! Right when it came out!
Yeah, you made our mother watch it as well.
I did. She wasn't really well, actually she was watching and she was asking a lot of questions, which was really funny, because she didn't know what was going on. But yeah, I watched Gear 5. Can't wait for the episode this week. Oh my god, the animation. Amazing.
And for when they'll dub it in 5 years.
No, I mean, they are in Wano. They're pretty far in Wano, so it won't be that long. Honestly, at this point, I think people should more be worried about just the fact that, the manga and the anime are getting close now.
Closer.
I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a filler arc between Wano and the next arc, but still.
The fact that it hasn't happened yet, I think they'll be all right.
Oh, yeah, no, but it is getting closer. And Oda has said that he's been putting a lot of time into the new Netflix series, which that's also coming out really soon. Now you wanna hang out. Sorry, I was trying to have Tilly join us today, and then of course she didn't want to. She's rude, but I'm getting off topic. So Oda's been very involved with the One Piece Netflix, so he's actually the manga's been kind of on more delay recently. So it's really not that far between where we are in the manga versus the anime.
Nice.
So, no, not nice. You take that back right fucking now. Take it back.
I wasn't really listening, so I just said that.
How fucking dare you? How dare you? You know what? I'm never listening to you again.
That's fine. You don't anyway, so.
I listen. Are you going in your bee bed? Are you going in your bee bed? No. She denied me bee bed.
I mean, Alex, Gear 5's not that impressive. I mean, Slade said Gear 6 this entire time.
Go fuck yourself. And Slade, you do. That's not. No. Did I just break my headphones? Hello?
I can hear you still.
Oh, okay. I don't know if did I break my mic? My headphones don't sound right anymore.
You sound fine. You sound fine on my end, so.
Maybe I just popped my ear or something.
This is our first injury. Alex blew out her eardrums.
Actually, wait. I think one of the things is not working. Hold on. All right, speak.
So
it is. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I'm just crazy.
Oh, that's
but anyways,
obvious.
Slade, knock it up. That's not the gears we're talking about. Get out.
So, Alex, you want to know what I hate?
No. All right, what do you hate?
The fucking DMV.
Who doesn't? Does anyone enjoy
That
the
place is a
DMV?
place of misery and suffering.
It is.
You go in, fucking wait half an hour just to get called to a window just for them to tell you to go kick stones because you don't have a fucking piece of mail.
Bill, do you know how long it took me to get my license for Connecticut? It took me like 6 tries because every time they're like, "Oh no, that doesn't work. Oh no, that doesn't work," and I'd be like, literally, the person who I was with last time said that doesn't work, and they were like, "Well, they were wrong," and I'd be like, "God fucking damn it!"
That's why next time I'm just going to bring every fucking piece of mail I have.
Yep.
Surely one of them will work.
So, Bill, are you excited for Gear 5? You didn't
No.
tell me that you were excited.
Sure, whatever.
What? Get out! Anyways.
So yeah, it's been so far this week's been better for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, this week's been. I mean, it's what day is it? It's Wednesday. It's not
Wednesday.
Thursday. It's Wednesday. We last recorded on Thursday, but it's Wednesday. I wish it was Friday.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wish it was always Friday.
I wish it was Saturday. I wish it was always Saturday.
This week started off off on the wrong foot. Like I was so tired.
Yeah.
And I just have not been able to I've been like showing up to work just on time like every day this week because I'm like so tired getting up in the morning.
The other day I slept fine last night, but Tuesday night I didn't sleep at all. Like, I don't know why. I was tired. I was nodding off on the couch. I went to bed. I went to lie down, and then it was nothing. Tried to sleep, nothing. I could not sleep at all. And then thankfully last night I did, but I also took 2 melatonin, so that probably helped a little bit.
Well, that's the thing I've noticed about living alone is when there's no one around, I just fall asleep on the couch and I'm like, shit.
Yeah, me too. I keep falling asleep and I'm like, ugh.
I'm like,
this is what getting me to annoy the shit out of you anymore.
This is what getting old is. But then Monday night I was doing another podcast and we were up to 11 just shooting the shit. I didn't even realize what time it was. I was like, holy shit.
I can't stay. That's probably also why you're so tired this week, because you stayed up late one night and it just threw you off the rest of the week.
Yeah. Unfortunately, sometimes when you're actually having a good conversation, you just kind of don't realize what time it is, and then you actually see the time and you're like, shit.
So you're telling me that we don't have good conversations on this show?
I see you every day.
No, you don't. I didn't see you today.
Whatever. Anyways. I could walk to you right now if I really wanted to.
No. So, Bill, are you excited for Gear 5 this weekend, too?
I don't even know what I'm doing this weekend yet, to be honest.
I'm watching Gear 5 on Saturday night or Sunday morning if I fall asleep. I'm watching Gear 5 Part 2, the second episode that also is Gear 5, and I can't wait.
Yeah. I got a new Wii dock in today. Not Wii dock, Switch dock. Wii dock, that would be a thing.
Oh, I bought all of the Dorohedoro manga.
I saw that.
I did. Well, I have half of it. I don't have the second half yet. It should be arriving tomorrow or Friday.
Assume Friday. It's usually always late.
Well, you never know. I'm gonna believe. I just gotta believe. Whoa.
Yeah, but I bought another.
I can't wait to read it. And you bought a Wii dock.
Switch dock.
A Wii dock.
I bought another Switch dock so I can have one for the
so
basement.
You can play your Wii.
And that way I can play Ring Fit Adventure down in the basement.
Ah, the basement where you dwell.
Well, it's a better. Ring Fit Adventure is a fun game, but you can't play it on an upper floor. And there's no room in my living room, so
is it 2-player? It's only one player.
It's only one player.
That's the only thing Ring Fit is missing is the 2-player option ability. But
I need to charge my Joy-Cons though. I haven't had Joy-Cons plugged in fucking a year.
Done messed up.
Yeah.
Goodness, Bill.
What is your cat doing now?
She's loafing.
Good for her.
Hello, loafer. Are you loafing by the window? How much is that loafer in the window? Meow meow.
But anyways,
She looks huge right now.
before we completely just lose the
I thought
plot
you were
here,
on a diet.
are you drinking
What are you
anything?
drinking? Oh, drinks. Knock on wood. You owe me a Coke.
I'm drinking, because it's only a Wednesday, I'm drinking a Liquid Death.
Oh, you want to know what I'm drinking?
What?
I'm drinking a Kirkland Signature purified water with minerals added for taste.
I had one of those after my workout today.
16.9 fluid ounces, 500 milliliters, or 1.05 PT. What's PT?
Playable teaser.
Okay. It has a name option. You can write your name on it. There's a name box.
That's fun.
It's distributed by Costco.
A name box
Wholesale
that'll get erased as soon as it sweats.
Okay, it's distributed by Costco Wholesale Corp. P.O. Box 3.
I'm sure the listeners really are interested in this right now.
Seattle, Washington. 9.
Okay. You know what I enjoy about
include purified water,
That's nice.
potassium bicarbonate, sodium bicarbonate, calcium
I'm gonna mute you now.
citrate. So I'm fucking near you. I'm not done. Sodium.
No one cares about what's in water.
Magnesium.
It's H2O. That's all that anyone cares about.
Those were the added minerals, Bill. The added minerals.
I like how Liquid Death is just literally, it's just fucking like edgy LaCroix.
That's like a band name, Edgy LaCroix.
Sure.
Edgy LaCroix.
This flavor is
start the band Edgy LaCroix.
This flavor is called Bury It Alive because all their names are like edgy.
Edgy LaCroix.
It's good water though, and they have really big cans, and that's why I like it.
Yeah, Bill likes to throw them at people he doesn't like.
No, I don't.
He won't stop throwing them at me. Help.
Well, we've already killed 10 minutes of nonsense, so let's get into our topic for this episode.
Hey, this wasn't nonsense. This was important information, a.k.a. Gear 5.
Oh, I can edit one of those minutes out, though. That's right.
Gear 5. Shut up! I didn't burp. Gear
well,
5.
Now they're going to know what happened.
No, they'll never know. You'll cut that out, too.
No,
You'll
I'm leaving that in. I'm leaving that in.
I didn't burp. Bill burped. He just wants me to cover for him. But it wasn't me. I swear.
Well, anyways. No. So, moving on to our topic again. We're
moving on.
Not doing gaming this week. We're actually doing...
Not anime.
So, not anime technically this time around. This time we're going to be talking about the interesting world of cartoon/Western animation that was inspired by anime.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of it, and it's becoming more and more apparent as we go on these days.
That anime's the shit, and everyone's jealous.
Well, that anime has just been taking over the world lately.
Yes.
But yeah, so there is anime has inspired a lot of things in Western animation over the years. Like the film Akira alone has inspired a lot of like different things. Like the bike scene of Kaneda like doing the like slide on the bike, that has like been reused in so many shows. Like even like I think SpongeBob reused it at one point.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Like Batman the Animated Series, a ton of shows have like referenced that, and like all these like series like take like cues from it. Like Darren Aronofsky from in his film Requiem for a Dream. Literally lifted the bathtub scene from Perfect Blue just like because he was such a fan of it. Like there's a lot of massive inspiration in like Western media. And cartoons in particular, like there has been a few over the years that have been just straight up basically been animes.
Like to the point that people just say they're animes even though technically they're not anime.
Like some of them are straight up animes that are just made in the US in like North America or Canada or France. There's a lot of France made productions as well. But that's
I have a couple on my list of shows that I remember watching that were made in France that were anime based.
Yeah. I figure we're not really doing a countdown like we've been in past times or like a ranking. We're kind of just going to go randomly like throughout and just talk about a few. But There's
I
one
have a
where
couple picked out.
yeah, there's one we're gonna save for last because it's very iconic. But
Yeah.
I figured we'd go through a couple of them here. Alex actually sent me a ranking list that she found online, and I was laughing going through it because half of these aren't even like don't even fit the criteria of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like
Well, it was
that
funny. I was
Batman Beyond
sending
was on there, and I was like, "What the Batman Beyond? No."
some of them like had ones that like I recognized that weren't on other ones, so that's why I picked. But I mostly went by I found this Wikipedia article that was anime influenced animation, and I thought that one was pretty accurate.
Yeah,
Um I think probably a really big one here, at least from our childhood, was Teen Titans. That
yeah.
was a big one that both of us watched.
So Teen Titans was interesting because like that one literally it kind of so I was big into like the DC animated universe, which was like the massive like it started with Batman the animated series and went on all the
Yep.
way till Justice League Unlimited. Towards like the end of Justice League Unlimited, a lot of like characters stopped appearing because other shows had started and they didn't want to have cross characters in shows.
Hmm.
And because like the character Robin disappeared from like the DCAU towards the end, and a lot of people wondered what was going on there, and
Yeah.
that's because Teen Titans started, and they had a kind of embargo where they were kind of like, "All right, Robin can't appear in anything else anymore,"
Mm.
which was fascinating to me because there was also another Batman series called The Batman, which came later. And they actually did a twist because they couldn't use Robin. They actually had Batgirl show up first before Robin, which was interesting.
Ah,
But anyways, going to Teen Titans now. That show is interesting.
iconic.
It ran a lot shorter than I thought it did.
It was only 5 seasons with a movie.
5 seasons, well, 2 movies now technically.
Oh, 2 movies?
Yeah, they did a crossover movie with
Oh.
the other Teen Titans that's not in the going to be mentioned in this
Oh, the
episode.
Teen Titans Go?
Yeah, they did a crossover between the two.
Oh, that's funny.
I gotta watch that because apparently it's pretty good. But yeah. So it only ran from 2003 to 2006, and so this show kind of coincided with the Teen Titans kind of like reboot that happened in 2003, where the comics like completely just like restarted it.
Yep.
Started the Teen Titans group because for before that you had Young Justice running around, and then you had the Titans, which was like all the original Teen Titans as adults,
Mm.
and they wanted to bring back the younger team. And it's funny to me because the team in this show is not like other than Robin is like not the original team at all. It's all later members that showed up, and I just thought that
Yeah.
I always thought that was kind of funny.
But it was like as someone who was not into DC or really superheroes at all, I freaking love Teen Titans. Like that was like my favorite show on Cartoon Network at the time. And I think a lot of it did have to do with I was into anime with like Sailor Moon and the other shows that I watched. So Teen Titans definitely fit the plate. Um and it
There was
definitely
so much anime ass shit in this show, by the way.
Oh yeah. I mean just even with the characters designs, like
Hmm.
they are like I mean they have a more western influence, but you can definitely see the anime-esque, takeaways with it as well.
Well, what's funny
Um
too about this show is this Robin is the Dick Grayson version of the character, which was the first Robin,
mhm.
and it's hilarious to me because by this point in time, like he hadn't been Dick Grayson in like decades. Like he had been Nightwing for so long, so it was really funny. They went back to like the Dick Grayson version of the character,
Yep.
just because it was like he's been Nightwing longer than he's been Robin at this point.
Eh, well,
There was some wacky ass episodes in this show though, like especially the ones with
yeah.
like the trippy house where like they were all
Yeah,
in the
that
dream
one with the
world.
weird like clown house or something and
I just
like
remember
where
because Beast Boy was having like a mental breakdown that entire episode.
also like and I feel like that series, like especially, I was reading in the art, like the Teen Titans article, that season 4 is where it kind of got a little dark too, and I do remember it getting dark at times and being like, "Oh, this is pretty edgy for like a kids programming," because it was,
Hmm.
I mean, kids and teens, but Teen Titans, um, and yeah, I mean, I just like I watch this all the time. Like this was one of my
Well, it
favorite
was
shows that like
always
we
on
would
Cartoon
always
Network.
tune in. But I also remember when it ended, it was like very abruptly, and everyone was sad. Everyone was sad that it was ending.
Yeah, it basically just kind of like it was there and then it just was gone because they moved
Yeah.
on to other things.
I think part of it too, I was reading like why it ended, and I think a lot of it had to do with their pitch for the sixth season was similar to the fourth, where it was a little edgier and darker, and the ratings I guess did drop during that season, so they just didn't pick it up after that, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Plus around
they tried to get a season six, but unfortunately Cartoon Network just didn't pick it up.
that's the thing because like the same something similar happened with Young Justice later down, which was a more not super anime take on this kind of idea of like the younger teen, like more of a kids version of like the Justice
Mm.
League. Um, that one also like got canceled because it was canceled by the network and they didn't have any place for it until Netflix picked it up and then later HBO Max.
Mm. I did want to bring up, because it's a good segue into another show, is the opening theme was performed by Puffy Amiyumi, which they actually had their own their own Cartoon
I
Network
always
show
forget that they're an
called Hi
actual.
Hi.
I always forget they're an actual
Yeah,
thing.
they are an actual thing, and they had their own series, Hi Hi Puffy Amiyumi, which if you've seen the show, you can definitely see it has quite a bit of an anime influence as well, with the character designs and the fact that it's based off a real Japanese duo, so it's it's pretty obvious that they had a big anime inspiration, since anime is Japanese animation.
It's funny too
Um,
because this show was created by Sam Register, who was like a key member of like he worked on like Teen Titans and like the DC animated universe. Like he was very much a Cartoon Network lifer.
yeah, I did not realize that this show had 3 seasons. I feel I thought this was a one seasoner, and then that was
It
it.
it was
But
on pretty much the same exact time as Teen Titans was.
yeah. I do remember though, like one of the things that was fun is like it was very anime, but it was almost like a modern but retro at the same time.
You know,
Like one of the
it's
main
really
characters,
messed up because the show the art style reminds me a lot of Panty and Stocking for some
it
reason.
does. I was gonna bring that up. I think there is quite a bit of influence from Panty and Stocking, which I'd say that one does have a more
Did you know that's coming back?
finally.
Yeah, they're bringing that back. I saw a thing pop up on it.
Finally, it's been like years. Like, and they left with a clip. Okay, this is that's off topic. So we're gonna pause and we'll talk about that at another point in time.
Okay.
But damn. But yeah, this one was fun because it was basically like a little. I think it was like sitcom based, but you also followed around, the band Hi Hi Puffy Amiyumi, pop stars and best friends, and I mean it was kind of fun because one of them is the cheerful, optimistic one, and the other one was the cynical, sarcastic one, more of a tomboy. And they're based off like a real duo, which is pretty fun. And the series basically just follows them around in their music career, going to concerts, and yeah, like performing at concerts and just being pop stars.
I remember
Which
this show being on like a lot because we went through. So when we were watching cartoons, we went through phases like where Nickelodeon was the only show that was ever on channel that was ever on to Cartoon Network to Disney to back to Cartoon Network.
yeah,
And this was during the Cartoon Network phase, so like there was a ton.
oh
I
yeah,
think a lot of this had to do with the fact that our controller was broken and we couldn't change the channel all the time.
yeah. So we kind of just stuck with what we had, but yeah, this one was definitely a fun one. And like the music was really fun. I think that was like a good part about the show was just that like the music was fun, so you just enjoyed it.
Hmm.
And I always just thought it was funny. Like I remember when I first listened to the Teen Titans intro and then realized that it was this was the band that did it, or it was like when I first listened to the show and I was like, that sounds so familiar, and then finding out that it was them doing the Teen Titans intro was really funny.
See, I wouldn't have ever noticed because I just thought the Teen Titans intro was catchy and I just left it at that.
I watched the show more than you though, so
Yeah, this wasn't really a me show.
yeah.
It was one of those things where I'd see it on and I'd just kind of be like, all right, can I use the TV now to play video games?
No.
Because I still didn't have my own TV at that point.
Oh, it is interesting though. One of the artists did art for Samurai Jack,
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, yeah.
which is
Speaking of,
another segue. It's another show that was inspired by anime.
Samurai Jack is like one of the biggest cult classics
I feel like it's like an icon in Cartoon Network.
of Cartoon Network, to the point where it went away for years, came back as a comic book, and then it actually did get finished like years later
Yeah.
because it ended initially on a cliffhanger.
Yep.
Famously, this show was created by Jendy Tartakovsky, who was also the creator of Dexter's Lab.
Ah.
And the reason why Dexter's Lab went through that freaking massive downgrade in quality was because he left Dexter's to work on this show, and
Yeah.
the people who took over didn't know what to do with it.
And they were like,
And ironically, this show was nowhere near as well. It was well received, but like the ratings sucked because they put it on at a shitty time slot, like they always seem
Wasn't
to
it
do.
also adult? It was on Adult Swim.
When it came back to finish the story, it was on Adult Swim.
Oh, okay.
It originally aired on Cartoon Network because I remember
Yeah.
I remember the original the airing when it first came out, because I remember we watched it and we were like, "What the fuck is this?" Because it was fucking.
awesome.
I know you were really into it because you like the Japanese stuff, and I remember just being confused.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool. So I guess Samurai Jack it's a samurai / kung fu kind of show.
I always
but it
remember the
also is
main
like a dystopian future.
I always remember the main antagonist was like the giant
Dragon Man.
Aku
Aku.
But I always remember because he was voiced by
Demon. He's a supernatural shape-shifting demon.
Yeah, that's what it was. He was voiced by Mako, though, the Japanese actor who sadly passed away in 2006, so he wasn't able to reprise his role. But
yeah,
he also we'll be bringing Mako up later because he had another iconic character that he played from a show we'll be mentioning later.
Yep.
Also, will.i.am did the theme song for Samurai Jack.
He did?
Apparently.
Oh yeah. will.i.am. He was part of the Black Eyed Peas. What a guy.
Yeah. Yeah, this one was funny though, because I remember it like showed up and then just disappeared, and I remember thinking like, oh, whatever happened to Samurai Jack? Because we never saw it being on because it was always like at the worst time.
Yeah. Well, because it had the first 3 seasons were all throughout 2001 to 2000. Well, first 4 were just from 2001 to 2003. So really, I mean, it was only a couple years, but it really, and the last season was Adult Swim.
2017, of all things. It was nice they finished it though.
It came back. Hey, I mean, the fact that they did come back and finish it is pretty.
So nice. You know what's a funny theme with a lot of these shows though is that they just end in like very abruptly, and don't really have satisfying conclusions. Yeah. You want to know one that did have a satisfying conclusion?
Yeah.
Do you remember Shaolin Showdown?
Yes. I don't remember the context of the show, but I definitely remember the show.
So it was kind of like Shaolin Showdown was like a Dragon Ball meets like it was interesting. Like the whole gimmick was they had it was like this like evil was coming for these like mystical items like that like had like special powers, and they kind of had to like get this group of like it was like a group of students, and the whole gimmick was they were basically hunting down these treasures, and it had a whole lot of lore and complex shit, like a great voice cast. Like Tom Kenny was in it, SpongeBob was in this, Tara Strong, Grey DeLisle, Jeff Bennett, a whole bunch of classics. I just remember it being really goofy. It had that anime-esque style, but it had a lot of American humor. And I remember because it lasted like 3 seasons, I believe. Yeah, 3 seasons, 52 episodes. I remember it was on like, it was originally on Kids WB, and then I think it got moved to Cartoon Network like a lot of shows did. It did end though, and the ending was so satisfying because it like tied up everything, and like it gave you a lot of. It was very much a twist that like a lot of people didn't see coming.
Yep.
Which I thought was really nice. Although it kind of ended after that. It ended satisfyingly, but it also felt like there was so much more to tell.
Yep.
And there was a sequel series, but the sequel series apparently is not great. So I never watched it because they apparently kind of ignore the ending of the first show with it. And I was like, that's lame. I'm done.
Aw.
It only lasted one season, so clearly it
Oh,
didn't.
really?
Yeah. Xiaolin
Oh.
Chronicle. Apparently, the creator wants to bring it back, though, in more of a style as the original series, so
Nice.
maybe someday. I always remember
someday.
the main character looked like Krillin.
Yes.
He had the dots and everything on his head.
Krillin. And there was
Yeah.
Shenron.
Yeah, kind of.
Shenron.
I just remember this show being really entertaining and like it was unfortunately one of those shows though that like Cartoon Network and W never aired the episodes in order, so you'd always get like a cliffhanger ending and you'd be like, "Well, back to the start," and it's
Back
like,
to the start. But hey, that's what the internet's for. You can go back and rewatch it.
that or I have the DVDs. I'm not even sure if they're official. They might be bootlegs for all I know, but I have them.
Hey, I know where you got those.
eBay.
Bootleg man at the convention.
No, that was a
Rhode
head.
Island.
Oh, right, that one.
The bootleg man. Well,
So you want to? Speaking about where are you going with this?
I don't know. I'm lost.
I was gonna say, speaking of shows that ended and then came back and weren't nearly as good when they came back, Code Lyoko.
That's what.
Yeah.
I literally have the Wikipedia page open. Yeah.
So you
Code
remember
Lyoko,
this
they
one more
fucking
than I
ruined
did.
it. Oh my
Yeah.
god, I freaking love this show. It was so good. I mean, like the CGI animation is garbage now. Like if
Yeah,
you
it
go
hasn't
back
aged
and
well
watch
at all.
it looks terrible. But at the time, oh my god, it was the peak of CGI. But now, straight up garbage. I did not realize that this had 97 episodes, though.
Yeah,
The
it's a
first-
long
I did not
series.
realize how freaking long this one went back. But this one was like interesting because I guess it's also kind of like not what's the category of anime where it's like they go into another world.
It reminded me of Digimon a lot. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it does have Digimon aspects, but I was thinking of like when they get but they're not reincarnated. But basically, the main characters get like put into this. They go into this other world, where they become CGI and they have to fight.
And that's where
but
they get all their
also
magical
have-
powers because there's this evil computer robot.
Yes, evil computer robot. I can't remember what the evil computer
Xana.
robot is. Xana. Yes,
I don't know
Xana.
why I remembered that of all things.
I just saw it on the Wikipedia. But basically, they're trying to defeat Xana. There's also like a girl in the computer. I'm trying to remember her name. What was her name? Alita. I think her name was Alita. And she lives in the computer. And at one point, she comes out of the computer. But I think the coolest gimmick of the show was the fact that it had traditional animation, and then it went to the CGI animation.
See, I remember because she was like exclusively in the computer world for like the first like couple seasons. So like during the intro, she'd just be CGI all the time. And then the main character never went in the computer world, so he like was always animated.
Yes.
Except for that one time he did, and they always joked that his CGI looked terrible, so that's why you never see it.
Yeah. It's actually I'm reading so Alita was she was trapped in the computer, but she was actually like the daughter of the creator of the world, Lyoko. And that's how she like got trapped there because her dad created it. And that she has a special power of creation in the world. And
did this one ever end, or did it like?
I think it did. I think it did have an ending, like a full ending. Do I remember the ending? No, because
by the time
same reason with all the other Cartoon Network shows where you never got to watch it in order, and also probably by the time that it did end, I'd kind of moved on.
Yeah, I remember like towards the end, like they brought in like this new character who could also go into the computer world, who was like an anti-hero, like villain kind of character, and I was like, all right, they've jumped the shark at this point, and I was like, I'm good.
Yeah. Code Lyoko was one of the French animated shows, though, of the many, which is pretty funny. There's a bunch of them. But I'd never watched Code Lyoko Evolution, but I heard that it sucked because they used live action instead of the hand drawn animation. So
And hilariously enough, it also only lasted one season.
yeah, but Code Lyoko, like I couldn't tell you the plot, but I remember watching it a lot and going, "This is really cool. This is the peak of animation." And now I look at it, I'm like, "This is garbage." Like I can't go back and watch it because it just looks so bad. I mean, not the like hand drawn animation stuff or like non CG animation might not be hand drawn, but
The
yeah,
traditional
the
animation.
traditional animation. The CG though
It's
looks
CG.
like it's so bad.
It's still better than Butt Ugly Martians, so that's a plus.
Alright, yeah, that is a plus.
It's
But
it's about on par with like Jimmy Neutron, where it's kind of like you watch and you're like, this was good back in the day. And you're like,
but it definitely did have a lot of I mean, just the whole plot of it, the whole going into the computer world, Digimon-esque vibes, and just the whole designs. They definitely had their unique style, but there's so much anime influence to it. So, maybe I'll go back and watch it again.
where
Probably not
if you can ever
though.
find it, because I have no idea where the hell this show is.
Oh my god, it's probably on YouTube. Speaking of one that's on YouTube, and I believe it's also made by a French studio. Oh no, Italian studio. Bill, did you ever see the show Winx Club?
I remember it. I never watched it, but I saw you watch it a
The
lot.
fairy show. Oh my god, this was the shit for anyone who likes Sailor Moon and anyone who likes transformation animes. Oh my god.
It was like an American take on a magical girl anime.
No, it was an Italian take on a magical girl.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Get it right. Yeah, but it was like super fun. Only thing is, so I'm going back. I recently started rewatching it because I found it's all on YouTube, minus a couple episodes that just aren't because of copyright slowly taking it down. But it's all on YouTube. And oh my god, I just have to say this. I'm going on a rant, people. These are some of the worst characters ever made. These people all fucking suck. Like, these are the most toxic. Like, at one point, so the main character, Bloom. What the fuck was that? What were you drinking, Bill?
Move on to the toxic character.
No! You must say what you're drinking before I lose my train of thought.
It's another liquid death.
God fucking damn it. Anyways. So, I was watching it, and, like, these are the most annoying, toxic, stupid characters in the world. At one point, like, so the main character, her name's Bloom, and she's dating this guy who's a prince. And, like,
okay.
So she goes to, like, see him compete in, like, a tournament, because there's a guy school where I think they're called, like, the Specialist. Don't know why, that's a stupid name. Anyways, so she goes and she's watching him, and at one point, like, she sees this girl, and she's like, I'm Prince blah blah blah's fiance, and she's like, you have to be a witch. There's no way you could be his fiance. And she just straight up starts attacking her, completely unprovoked. There was nothing to tell her that this girl was a witch except that she said she was the fiance of her man. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, what the fuck? There was no provocation.
So
And
wasn't
then
this show
all
like
their relationships are so toxic too? All the relationships in that show, I'm like, oh my god, this is a terrible influence on kids.
So wasn't the show like originally brought over by like 4Kids, and then like Nickelodeon picked it up later and like redid it?
So yeah, so that's the weird thing is I believe it first started out as 4Kids because there's two different dubs. There's the 4Kids, I believe the 4Kids dub, and then there is a Nickelodeon dub, which is interesting because it has prominent voice work by Elizabeth Gillies and Ariana Grande, who are both people who worked on they were in the live action show Victorious. And Ariana Grande.
Oh yeah, by Mr.
As
Foot.
you know, the what?
By Mr. Foot.
Mr. Foot, yes, by Mr. Foot, but also, as you know, the lady who cheats on a guy who had a baby and then says, I want your baby to her, which is really fucking weird. Anyways, off topic, but yeah, and this had 8 seasons. And
Yep.
like a revival season too. And it has a new season right now too.
You gonna watch it?
I mean probably, yeah. Like, I mean, it was honestly though, like, for the most part, I mean, mine is going back as a kid, I thought it was fine. Rewatching as an adult, from adult perspective now, I'm like, what the fuck?
Why does the
These are horribly written
I'm
characters.
I'm scrolling down the Wikipedia page and all I see is there's a tab called lawsuit and I'm just like, why?
Lawsuit? What?
Oh, apparently Walt Disney sued unsuccessfully because they claimed that the show is a ripoff of Witch.
Well, I was actually going to bring that up after, but I'm not done with Winx yet. Also, one of my favorite parts of the show is that, so I'm assuming that the show was supposed to end after season 3, because one of the things, like, so season 3, they all got these really fancy transformations, and they said it's the final transformation. This is the final form of all fairies, and then it went on to get like 6 more seasons with a different transformation every time, much like Sailor Moon, and I just find it very hilarious. But
Yes.
also, so this series was made by an Italian man, and like now I can understand why all the characters are just terrible, because who the fuck, like, this is not how relationships work at all. I'm like,
What does that have to do with an Italian man?
well, no, a middle-aged Italian man, like, clearly, like, not 16 teen-year-olds, like, no, like, that's not how it's really weird. Like, it just seems, I don't know who, the perspective of all the relationships in the show, and just like some of the characters too, like, at one point, like, this girl Tekna, like, she just starts being so mean to her boyfriend and just being like, you can't do anything, you suck. Like, she literally just treats him like shit, and then like she gets a magical power from it, and she's like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have been a jerk to you, will you forgive me? And he's just like, yes, I love you. Also, like, the fact that, like, some of them, like, one of the characters literally met a guy one episode before, and then the next episode was like, I love you, I've never loved anyone like you, and I'm like, you just fucking met him, what the fuck? Like, sorry, I have so many gripes after watching this show. Like, just, that's not how relationships work.
Yeah, it says a lot that like I could get into Sailor Moon, but not this. I took
No.
one look at this and went, no.
Yeah, it's just really, it's real bad. Like, it's just, this show sucks. Like, I mean, I love the
As
art
you're watching
style.
it.
I mean, I'm still watching it, yes, because I have nostalgia for it, but I'm watching it, I'm like, this is trash. But anyways, leaving Winx Club and going into Witch, why they thought that they could make money from this is just stupid. They're very different. I mean, like, yes, it's girls. Also, they have wings too. I won't lie, I didn't really watch this one as much because I was watching Winx Club. Um, but like, sometimes if Winx Club wasn't on, I'd give this one a little watch.
This one also lasted half the time.
Yeah, because it wasn't as good. I mean, like,
This one also ran the same time period as Teen Titans from like 04 to 06.
Yeah, I remember, like, I mean, it was, it was there.
I didn't watch it.
I remember watching it, but I couldn't tell you the plot. I think the main character, I think the plots were kind of similar in the beginning with the main character, figuring out their powers, but
Apparently,
yeah.
it's based off of a comic.
Yeah, I think so. I remember that reading about that it is based off a comic, and I think the comic was actually perceived really well, and that the animation just didn't do it.
Well, it had
justice.
139 issues.
Okay, so
it ran from 2001 to 2012.
Yeah, so clearly, like, the comic had a good following. But in terms of anime, you can see. I mean, looking at the designs, I'd say these character designs are way more anime-esque than Winx Club or some of the others on our list. Like, these are clearly anime, designs. Like, very inspired designs. It's not an anime, but like, you can just tell just how they draw the characters. There's very much anime influences. Any of their names, I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
They're witches, but they have wings, and they all wear very horrible leggings.
Yeah. So now you want to talk about a show that came, lasted for a couple of years, went and ended on a cliffhanger that was never resolved, and also ran from the same time period.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Do you remember Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce
Yep.
Go?
That's the one I have open. I remember this, and it was really good.
It actually was a very well written show. Like it had
Yeah.
some surprisingly deep arcs.
Mm.
And they played the shit out of it. They just, for some reason, once it was done, it just was done.
Yeah.
4 seasons, 52 episodes. I remember it being dark as fuck, though. Like, there was some dark shit in this series.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, possible revival.
I mean, it ended. That was back in 2014 or 2023. Yeah, there's still no updates.
2018. Yeah.
2023. There's no updates.
Yeah, I mean, the likelihood of this getting a revival is the likelihood of me hating One Piece. It's just not possible.
Just like a revival gets announced tomorrow, and I was just like,
I take it back. Delete it from the episode. No. And I'd say like this one is pretty anime influenced as well. I mean, it's very anime influenced, but it's not anime.
There was literally an episode that involved a freaking mad doctor who like was so obsessed with robotics, he just replaced all of his organs with robot parts.
I mean,
and
why not?
Just became a robot, and it's like, how the fuck does that work? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that one was like wacky as shit for no reason. You know what's funny though? That show felt like it was on forever, but it actually only lasted like 3 years.
Not really?
Yeah, like 04 to 06. And this one was the most tragic though, because it ends on like the most dramatic cliffhanger ever. Like they're planning on the final like attack, like assault on like the freaking main antagonist, who's voiced by Mark Hamill, which was a really fun role. But they're planning this big assault, and then it just ends, and like that's it.
And you're just like, I guess we'll never know.
Yeah, pretty much. We never got to see the conclusion. God, I remember when that one aired too, because that was a big like. This is back when like you actually got excited for like a show airing.
Yeah, that one was definitely. I remember the excitement, and then I just remember like is it coming back? And then it never did. It never did.
It was like one of those shows that did well initially, and then Disney, I guess, was just kind of like, yeah, and just kind of stuck it on like the shitty time slot, and it just eventually died.
Yeah.
It's on Disney Plus though, so if you want to watch it, it's all there.
Go for it. Did you ever watch the show Symbionic Titan?
Symbionic Titan. That sounds very familiar. Let me look it up.
It's very much based. I would say the heavy influences would be mech animes. It's very much a mech anime influence, and I mean some of the character designs, like they're very much more of a Western design, but you can see the anime influences in the designs themselves. But I think Symbionic Titan was a similar story of it. It just kind of ended like without.
Oh, I remember this.
Where it wasn't renewed.
I didn't watch it, but I remember it.
Oh, and the reason it wasn't renewed is because it didn't have any toys connected to it.
Yep, because that's how American cartoons work.
I mean, yeah, and it really sucks, but I remember this being like a really cool show. I think probably because of its anime influence, but it only had 20 episodes. It's real sad. But it definitely, I mean, the main influence you can tell is mech anime just by looking at some of the imagery. But yeah, this one was sad. But I guess it's it was on Netflix in 2019, but it was removed.
Of course it was.
From Netflix in 2020.
So now you want to talk about some American cartoons that were inspired by anime that just basically are animes. Yes. You know Ruby. Ruby's a thing.
Yes.
Ruby is interesting. Like that's one of those shows I came too late. Like my our good friend Matt, he introduced me to the first.
Hi Matt. Yeah. Everyone say hi to Matt, even though he's not here right now.
We watched the first 3 seasons.
You didn't say hi. How dare you? Matt's crying right now, bro.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
I doubt he is.
I can hear him sobbing from here. Matt, it's okay. I said hi.
All right, But anyways, yeah, we watched the first 3 seasons. The show is very fascinating because it's fully CG, like it's not a traditional animation,
Mm.
but they do very well with that. It's funny. This show came full circle because it got a legit anime adaptation later on.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing because I remember you telling me about that at some point. This is one of the shows. It's on my list to watch at some point, but I haven't gotten there yet.
It's one of those shows that like it starts off really slow and then like it picks up like extremely fast as it goes on.
Mm.
Like, because I'm only up to like season 5, and like I really got to like sit down and just watch more of it because like holy shit, it gets like complicated really quick. And the CG gets a lot better too as it goes on. It's funny because it looks very anime, like everything about it looks anime, but it's clearly got a very American style of humor.
Yes.
I mean, this was like Rooster Teeth's like whole big like anime thing. Like it was, I think, the same guys who did Red versus Blue. Only this is like was a whole original project.
Yes.
I enjoy it though. It's definitely it's not for everybody though, because I know some people try to get into it and they just can't.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I think every show's kind of like that. I mean,
The fight scenes are like the best part because they're like so extra for no reason.
hey, why not?
Uh,
Why
Another
not?
series though that's not an anime but
It's
basically is an anime is the
Ben 10 Alien Force.
does that count?
I'm kidding. I'm
Um,
kidding.
I was gonna say the Castlevania animated series.
Ah, yes, yes,
That's
yes.
so that's made by Frederator Studios, which is very like the same studio that did like not Jimmy Neutron, Fairly Odd Parents, I believe. Yeah. But they did the Castlevania animated series, which is just straight up an anime. Like it's not even it's so like it's so
Yeah. Well, I
close.
mean, everyone assumes. I think that's the one that's like the closest on the border of like, is it anime?
It's
Is
the
it
one that you
not?
always find in the anime section in like any store. Like it's the Castlevania animated series.
Yeah.
And it is very interesting how they did it because like the first season was literally 4 episodes.
Huh.
Like it was because it was a Netflix thing, and it follows the plot of the third game in the series, which is like the most interesting in my opinion.
Mm.
And they expanded it as they went on with like 2 additional seasons, and they're actually doing another series based off another entry in the series like later on with like different characters, which I'm interested in looking into.
Mhm.
It's literally the only real decent thing Konami's done in a long time, so, and they're probably barely even involved with it. So this is definitely a adult show though, because there is death and violence
Yeah.
everywhere, and it is
Yeah, and that's
super.
why I think it's on the lines of anime more as well too, because anime is not afraid to cross that boundary and kill off your favorite character or your least favorite character. They'll just kill about anyone, honestly.
Yeah,
If
but
they're a character, no one's safe.
yeah, that's another one that like really should be watched because like it's such a great story.
I will get to it eventually.
But
It's on my list, my ever-growing list that I can never escape from.
you know what was really funny? Like the list you sent me that had like the ranking of like anime inspired shows, it had Halo Legends on there, and I'm like, that's just straight up an anime. That's not even inspired.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, I'm like, that's just straight up an anime.
I was mostly just going for like ideas based off other.
Oh yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. Do you have any other ones you want to bring up before we get into like the big one that we're gonna end with? Or?
No, I think that was really it. I mostly wanted to talk about my annoyance with Winx Club. That's the one I didn't want to forget. I mean, I
Yeah.
guess Ben 10 Alien Force does have anime-esque things,
That's
but
that's
it's not
more
really.
that's more
it's
like
not really.
that one reminds me more of Western comics than it does anime. So
Yeah.
I guess so. Out of all of these, which ones would you say have held up the best before we get to the last one we're going to talk about?
Out of all of these,
I mean, Teen Titans
definitely
has
not
held up
Winx
well.
Club.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Teen Titans has held up quite a bit, and I would say I watched Symbionic Titan not that long ago, and I'd say that one definitely held up too.
It's been a while, but I remember the last time I watched Xiaolin Shodan, it was still pretty good.
Yeah.
Samurai Jack's
Code
good.
Lyoko, no.
Yeah, that
Don't
hasn't
watch
aged well.
that. It's not good. But I mean, I think the next one we're gonna talk about is probably one of the ones that's held up the best.
Yeah, and then Ruby and Castlevania are still going, so they're obviously doing well.
They're obviously doing just fine.
Yeah, but yeah, this one pretty obvious what we're going to talk about. So
Barney.
Fuck yeah, we are. No.
No,
So the
not
two
Barney.
plus two is 4.
2 plus 2 is 4. 2 plus.
Anyways, so the final show we're going to be talking about is probably one of the most successful American cartoons possibly ever made, in my opinion, just for how much of like an icon it's become and how much like of a following it gained. But that is Avatar: The Last Airbender, Nickelodeon.
Yes. I mean, if you don't know what this show is, what have you been doing? No, just kidding.
They saw the live action movie and ran away as fast as they could.
Okay, understandable. I mean, this one is just head to the toe anime influenced and just like Japanese kind of Chinese culture, Asian specific
A lot of
culture.
like Eastern style
Yeah.
Topics are touched in this one, and just like it's basically very much a Eastern inspired Western cartoon.
I mean, the fact that like I think it's like Chinese characters are in the actual title itself is pretty telling of like this is definitely anime influenced.
Well, yeah, the creators, let alone the creators, straight up just admitted it's heavily anime inspired.
Yeah, but oh my god, I think honestly, from out of all the shows from our childhood, like this was probably one of the peak shows of like a kid show, but was like really good.
It only lasted 3 seasons too, which is crazy
What?
to me.
It felt so much longer. I mean, granted, they are 20 episode seasons, but.
Well, the first 2, the third season was only like 16.
Oh, it is. Oh, I'm looking at. Oh, but I'm seeing 2020, 21. I don't know. But regardless, like, this show felt so much longer, and it was so good. I really do need to rewatch it at some point. It's on Paramount.
It's on Paramount Plus and Netflix.
Okay, nice. I do really need to watch it because
this show
this show was like honestly, I feel like this is probably in the masterpiece category.
It's one of the greatest pieces of animation probably ever made.
Yeah.
In all honesties,
the story, the characters, like it's just awesome, and it created like such an interesting universe as well. Which I think some of the other series that we talked about didn't. Like none of them really built upon this world.
I understand why. I understand why I thought 16 because on Paramount Plus they combine all of the multi-parters into single episodes.
Oh,
that's why it makes sense now.
But man, this was a good show. Like, I'd say this was the peak.
The
character peak of anime influence show.
I still remember when this show first aired and we saw the first episode, The Boy in the Iceberg, and I remember thinking like, I remember watching it and not really getting the hype at first because I was kind of like, it's a little slow, and then all of a sudden, like by 3 episodes later, you're like, holy shit, this is dark. Literally, the 3rd episode covers genocide.
Yeah,
like it's like straight up.
Yeah. I mean, like, this show covered a lot of great topics, but you gotta give it to the writing. Like, the characters were so likable, and, like...
Even the villains were likable. Yeah, like, one of the greatest, like, villain to hero storylines in animation history is in this show.
Oh, I also saw, like, I don't know what it was. It was a scene from Avatar, and it was Zuko, and it was, like, after a battle, and, like... It was the best scene ever. He's like, I just want to go to bed. And he just lied down and rolled over. And it was, and I was like, that's so relatable. I get you. Oh, it was so funny.
Uncle Iroh was the best character in the show.
Oh my god. Speaking of Uncle Iroh, did you see the Uncle Iroh cosplayer at Kineticon?
Yeah.
Off topic, but he was the man. And I also saw a really cute but really sad post that, like, he said that this was, like, his last cosplay and that he's just getting a little too old for it, but he's had so much fun. And I was like, oh, the spirit of Uncle Iroh was in that man.
Well, he was voiced actually by the same guy that did Aku from Samurai Jack Mako.
Oh.
That's why he died during the production, though, but that's why the later episodes are a different actor.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. So many quotable lines from him, though. Like, one of my favorites is, like, there's an episode where, like, he loses a piece of, like, his, like, game,
Hmm.
There's like a made up like kind of chess like game in Avatar.
And he's usually always playing it.
Yeah, and he loses his like one of his pieces for it, so they have to go on a journey to go find like this piece. And during the whole time, Zuko's trying to catch the Avatar, and then it ends where it's like after all this nonsense they go through, he's like, "Ah, the piece was in my sleeve the entire time."
And Bill, we can't not bring up Cabbage.
Oh, the Cabbage
The
Merchant, who was a
Cabbage
one-off
Man.
joke that became like one of the biggest freaking memes ever.
It's the biggest icon of the series. Oh, it was so good. There
There's
were
a
so
great
many.
line, like you remember King Boomy, the king who was just like the muscle man,
Hmm.
and like he knew Aang back in the day. One of my favorite jokes is like when they all come back for the final battle, and like Aang's on his weird spirit journey before the fight. They all meet up, and Boomy's like, "Wait a minute, somebody's missing here. Where's Momo?" Yeah, there was a lot of zingers in this show. Like it was such well written characters. There's actually the actor that plays Zuko and the actress that plays Korra are doing like a rewatch podcast of it right now, which
Oh,
is
that's
really
cool.
entertaining.
I think another really great thing about this show too was the character Toph.
Yeah,
Um,
you know that? Did you know that originally she was supposed to be the Muscle Man Earthbender in the intro,
yeah,
and they
I
changed it to Toph afterwards?
I really love that they made Toph the character that she was, where she was this prodigy, and that even though she was blind, she overcame that and was probably one of the most incredible, you know, earthbenders of the time. And I think a lot of shows didn't really, I think this was really one of the first of its kind to, do something like that. Like have a character that had a
Avatar did a
disability.
lot of things like that were very
Yeah.
different for the time. I still
Yeah.
think one of my favorite episodes ever is like in the right before the final battle is we get this one episode which is just the group going to go see a play which is based off of their journey. And the
Yeah.
entire episode is just basically a parody of like the fandom and all like the jokes and stuff.
The fandom.
But there's like
Oh.
they make fun of the whole like Toph was originally supposed to be a man joke because in the play like all the actors playing the group are like super exaggerated. Like the Katara actress is like always crying and talking about hope.
Yeah.
Um, the Aang one is played by a lady and is like super like bubbly, which
Yep.
Aang was not amused by. The Sokka one is goofy and only talks about food, and the
Accurate.
the Zuko one is the most accurate because he's just my honor.
My honor.
And then my favorite line too is when like because his hair grows back throughout the series, like the Uncle Iroh in the play is like, Zuko, we must talk about your hair. It's getting out of control.
Oh.
But then the best line is when Toph appears, and it's like literally this big, burly, beefy man, and he's like, "My name's Toph. It rhymes with tough. I'm blind, but I don't see. I can see differently. I see by screaming." And then he does like this large scream. But the best part is like the whole time, all the gang is like upset about the
Watching
plague.
horrified.
Yeah, they're all like very butthurt, and Toph's just shitting on them the entire time because she thinks it's great. And then they're all like, when Toph finally appears in the play, they're all like smirking because they're like, "Oh, good, now she's gonna get a piece of her medicine." And she's like, "Wait, it sounds like I'm played by a large, big ass dude." And they're like, "Yeah, Toph, how's it feel?" And she's like, "That's awesome." She's like, "I wouldn't have cast it any other way."
That's so good. Toph was such a good character.
They were all good characters, other
No,
than like,
they all were, and I mean,
well, even like
the supporting characters.
oh yeah,
too.
well, like even like character development wise, like if you rewatch the early episodes, Sokka's a fucking misogynistic prick in like the first like 7 episodes of the show,
Yeah.
and then he gets fucking beat down by the warrior girls that like appear. I forget their name right now. And then he like slowly goes through character development and becomes like the leader of the group later on.
Yeah.
His girlfriend was the moon.
Yeah. That was a really sad arc too. Like I remember watching it and being like, "Oh my god, no!"
The guy that
like,
killed the guy that played Admiral Zhao, the guy that killed the moon, that was Jason Isaacs.
Oh,
Very iconic voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so many funny characters and just one up. Mark Hamill was also the Fire Lord, so he was in multiple things.
Nice. I mean, I just think it's so interesting how many, kind of circling it around to everything we've talked about. It's just how many shows in America were really influenced by anime and, Japanese culture. There was I mean, there was a lot we talked about. So,
Well, it's funny because
pretty
now
interesting.
American cartoons are struggling to keep up with anime.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you'll get shows like Avatar, which are just like perpetually still like considered some of the greatest things ever created. And like, I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that it was original for the time, especially before anime really took off over here.
Yeah.
Because now they're
I
all just ripping it off just because they're trying to compete. But Avatar did it its own way and made it super unique.
I'm trying to think about too, like just animated show. Like I couldn't even name any.
Modern shows.
I couldn't. I really couldn't. Oh, I think another one. Um, this one it doesn't really fall into like the anime art style categories, but I think it's a good one to mention is Steven Universe.
Hmm.
Which definitely took many elements from Sailor Moon with the whole transformation anime style. And like the creator actually is very much has spoken about how she was very much inspired by Sailor Moon in the Sailor Moon series. So that I feel like that's a good one to bring up. But yeah, I couldn't even tell you a single animated series that's on right now. Um,
Yeah, I
yeah,
really couldn't either.
yeah. I'm like trying to think like.
Oh yeah, we didn't even talk about Legend of Korra
Oh yeah, I mean
because I still haven't watched it.
I haven't either.
I started
Um,
watching the first season before it came out on Blu-ray, and because I was watching it sketchily on a website, and I only got so far, and then like the website stopped working, and I was kind of like, I'll get to it eventually, and I just never did. I got to sit
eh,
down and watch it at some point.
I'm trying to see animated television series. So how do I look at like? I saw a list for like 2021. I don't even know. Like I don't even know what's on because I think that Steven Universe show isn't even airing anymore. I think that ended. Um, yeah, I really couldn't tell you anything.
Yeah, no, I just like modern TV just isn't good anymore. That's why I watch anime,
Yeah, no,
play video
I
games.
mean, yeah, I mean, we really haven't had any great shows like the ones we talked about. Like I
Hmm.
really couldn't think of any. Oh, I'm using Bing. That's why it's making it so hard to find things. This website is terrible looking. Sorry, I'm on the Cartoon Network website because I wanted to see if I could figure out what series are even on. It looks like there's only 4 shows.
I don't know. I haven't
Teen Titans
cartoon.
Go, Amazing World of Gumball, Craig of Creek, Ben 10. They redid another Ben 10.
Yeah, they
Stop,
rebooted it,
stop
started it.
with the Ben 10
They
nonsense. It's
rebooted it and
over.
started over again because
Why?
they got weird with one season.
Yeah. All right. This is weird. I'm out. Does Nickelodeon even make cartoons anymore?
I don't know. I thought they just made creepy sitcoms and really bad movies of said sitcoms.
I'm like trying to see. I mean, I'm assuming that. All right, SpongeBob.
Well,
Ugh,
yeah,
weird. Ugh, Alvin and the Chipmunks. That looks terrible. Um, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I guess they have
oh, yeah, they're
that.
doing that again.
Ugh, a 3D animated Rugrats that just looks horrible. That looks terrible. These all look like garbage. Oh, Smurfs. They have Smurfs now. I thought that was Cartoon Network had
I don't know.
Smurfs. This is weird. All right, I'm
Yeah,
gonna stick to watching anime, but I will definitely rewatch Avatar at some point after
it's
I
worth
finish
it.
my
You
terrible
realize
Winx Club walk.
you
Watch.
realize just how good that show was when you rewatch it because I rewatched a
Oh,
bunch
I
of certain
believe you.
arcs.
I believe you that it's really good. I just need to sit down and watch it again.
Hmm. Yeah, but I mean, other than that, though, it's just funny how like anime is literally like taking over everything. Like
Oh yeah.
anime and manga, because manga's taking over American comics and anime's taking over American cartoons because they're just better and you get more out of them.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that's about it. I mean, definitely I'd recommend watching Avatar, Teen Titans again.
Yeah, Teen Titans definitely on my list to watch again too. I might check out Ha Ha Puffy Yumi again too.
That one might have held up well.
Yeah.
I remember the Monkey Team show being pretty good too.
Oh yeah, and I kind of want to watch that again too because I remember the intro was a bop.
Most of these shows had a bop intro, so
Yeah, honestly, all of them probably had bops.
yeah,
for the most part.
But yeah, that's about it. Anything else you wanted to bring up, or we wrap this up?
Oh, I just want to remind everyone to start watching One Piece or get caught up because
All right.
Gear 5, it's happening. Watch it.
And with that,
it's not a car. There's no sixth gear, fifth gear. It's the beak.
All right. Well, anyways, guys, once again, thank you for joining us on the Gaming Collecting Podcast. The Gaming Collecting Podcast can be found on all your major podcasting platforms, particularly Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can follow us on all the social medias, Linktree / The Barbecue Games, and you can come join our Discord server at the GNC Podcast Network if you want to see Alex post curse shit. And you can also get our updates on anything. And once again, guys, we will see you all next time.
My cabbage! My cabbage!